Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Pensacola, UUCP. My name is Ian Briggs. My pronouns are he and him, and I'll be your service leader for today. Now, no matter if it's your first time here or you've been here so many times you lost count, no matter if you are here physically in person on this, what looks to be a rainy day, or you're watching later online on YouTube, I'd like to thank you for taking just a little bit of time out of your busy week to join us for fellowship. This church is built on a foundation of love, compassion, acceptance, and curiosity, among many other things. For many, this church isn't just a church, it's a home or a refuge, a safe space, a place where they can be understood and understand not only themselves but others too. So thank you. Now, if it is your first time here, welcome again. A little bit about ourselves. We are a lay-led congregation, which means instead of a preacher, minister, insert other word here, everything is done entirely by the members of this church. So in practice, that means that every week we have a different speaker, and from near and from afar, giving us their own unique perspective into their life. So a lot of talks will, a lot of services will be on talks, of course, like today. But we've done musical services, sing-alongs. We've had like Q&A panels. I think one time we did a brunch and board games morning. It was really fun. There's all this to say, there's always something different every week here at UUCP. So I highly recommend you come back each and every week. You get some new experience each time. All right. If you would like some more information about our church, we do have a pamphlet that looks like this. Well, you probably got one when you came in, but maybe in black and white, right? You could also visit us online at uupensacola.org, which is a good resource for finding out, what's coming up or what we have done in the past to give you a good, complete picture of just who we are here. I also like to invite everyone to join us for coffee and snacks in our conference room immediately after service. It's a great way to meet your neighbor, make a new friend, because as I said before up here, we're a pretty chatty bunch, right? You're going to find someone to talk to. Yeah, should be fun. All right. Yeah, I think that's covered. Oh, one more thing. If you haven't already done so, please silence or turn off your phones, electronic devices, things that go beep and boop. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Alrighty, now for some announcements. I only have two. There's just been a running trend of very few announcements, but summertime, people are on trips, all sorts of stuff like that. All right, let's see. The first one says, if you have been attending and would like to know more about what it means to be a member or friend of UUCP, please join us at the Newcomer Orientation, which will be next Sunday, July 19th, immediately after Sunday service, which will be around, I think we'll officially have it at 11:30. Give you enough time to go get your snacks and come right back into the sanctuary. But yeah, we'll gather so you can learn more about our church, our history, and what commitment as a member or a friend of our congregation looks like. You want to see Lauren Onzaldo, and I am not seeing her here today, but you come next week, she'll be here, right? Or if you do need a contact beforehand, you can let me know, and I can forward it along to her. So that's again next Sunday. All right. My one other announcement from today, this one is a fresh one, got a few minutes before, from the Move It On team. We are looking for someone that enjoys using eBay or other similar services and would like to assist us in selling items the church can no longer use. As we have Nancy right here demonstrating, we got an old VHS camcorder. I think there's another one back there too. We got a bunch of junk that we've accumulated in however long we've been in this building. Yeah, one man's trash is another man's treasure. There we go. Hey, it works. Maybe you want to make an analog horror film. There you go. You got a camcorder. Hey, I will say camcorders from 30 years ago are in vogue now. The kids of today, they love that stuff. Anyway, we have all that and more. And so if you are interested in helping out with that, you can contact Lori Winterberg. Is Lori here? There she is in the back, raising her hand. And Nancy Hagman, who you just saw showcasing some of our valuable prizes, right? And we would love your energy and assistance. That's it. There were the two announcements. There we go. Short and sweet. All right. So I'll now go on to our chalice sliding. I need my words so I can see them. These words come from Deanna Van Diver, although they've been adapted just a little bit for today's service. As we light this chalice, a container of air, earth, and fire, this ritual of our faith reminds our subtle and crashing about beings that we are part of a collective, a community of care and connection, courage and questions, not of algorithms and digital machines. Today we gather with intention and creativity, releasing what we must, shaping what we will, in a space made possible by the care of human hearts and the courage of real-world connections. Alrighty, everyone. So we're going to have some centering music from our lovely band over there. And as they play this piece, I want you to just sit back and relax. You know, it's been a long week. This is your day to just kind of hang out, right? Part of your Sunday ritual. And being that our talk will be on AI later, I want you to think about, when's the last time you did something creative? You made something. Maybe you painted or wrote a short story, or you tried a new recipe, or just learned something new. How did that make you feel? Great, right? Yeah. So, what's the next project you could work on? Just reflect on that. Thank you, band. Sure. We could clap for that. Why not? Yeah. All right. Now for our opening words. These have not been adapted. This comes from a piece called A Holy Alchemy by Kim Mason. Once upon a time, chemists believed they could transform lead into gold, or even death into life. Now, we know today that's not how that works, right? We laugh at that. But when you think about it, aren't we in the business of alchemy too? turning loneliness into connection, or pain into comfort, anger into solidarity, or faith into action. The subtle magic of church. It combines love with justice, creates hope out of fear, transforms individuals into a community. So here we are, engaging in a holy alchemy, finding beauty in the ordinary and life in the present. Come, let us be transformed together. Alrighty, if you're willing and able to join us for our opening hymn, I'll also invite the choir, probably should have said that first. Our opening hymn is number 298 in the Gray Book. Find it in your chair. Wake Now My Senses. And if you remain standing after the song for our covenant. All right, now let's say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. You may be seated. Now is the part of our service called Joys and Sorrows. This is a time where you in the community can come up here and share with us what's going on, whether it's something good, something bad, in between, or beyond. Now, I will note that this part of the service is not recorded, it's not shared, not streamed, none of those words. It is entirely for the people here in this room today. If you would like to share, you can line up on either side. We'll hand you the microphone. You tell us your name and you briefly share with us what's going on. And when you're done, you take one of those little pebbles, you drop it in the water. And I will first drop the first stone for all the big things going on, or I'll have Joe do it for me. Thank you, Joe. For all the big stuff happening around the world, which there is certainly no shortage of.
Hi, my name is.
what's next? Offertory. All right, being that we are a lay-led congregation, that also means all of our bills are paid entirely by us. No outside income, no sponsorships, nothing like that. It's entirely by your generosity. So I'm going to invite the ushers to pass around the basket. There's also information on screen of how to give digitally, which most people do. And and while that's going on, I'm also going to invite the choir up, I believe, and we'll have a song to play, and you can follow along. Number 402 in the book, if you like to follow along.
It's from you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. All right. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this real quiet though. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
All righty. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, choir. Alrighty. Today's speaker is one of our very own. He has been a member of our church board, having served a term as president a couple years ago. And he has lent a helping hand in all sorts of ways beyond that, including being a frequent speaker like today. Lately, he has been gaining quite a following on social media. Maybe you've seen some of his videos, that dive into the sometimes forgotten history of our fair-weathered city, although how much it's fair-weathered is beyond me. So please help me welcome our very own Pensacola historian and current candidate for district commissioner, Joe Vincent.
All right. Good morning, everybody. So this is going to be a talk about AI, which I think is fairly timely. We've been hearing a lot about the proposed data centers that are going in all around the country, and potentially, though now people are denying it in our backyard. So for centuries, the human search for meaning and divinity has shaped our built environment. We've constructed these towering cathedrals, temples, and mosques, sacred buildings designed to point our eyes toward heaven, to make us feel small in the presence of something vast and infinite. With a notable exception of Barcelona's Sagrada Familia, under construction since 1882, finished this year, and which Bradley just visited, cathedrals aren't being built much these days. The new architecture of the infinite isn't in these beautiful sacred edifices. It's in windowless, monolithic concrete warehouses spanning millions of square feet. Data centers. They're popping up in the deserts near Phoenix, clustered around major cities in Texas, lining the Columbia River Gorge in the Pacific Northwest, and dotting the I-95 corridor in Northern Virginia. They've even started appearing in Florida. These buildings house the computers that power the media we use every day, from Google searches to streaming services like Netflix to social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And in the last few years, a new innovation. You see, at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI. Sorry, that was my obligatory Matrix reference for this service. The phrase artificial intelligence dates back to the 1950s, when mathematicians like Alan Turing and researchers like Alan Newell started wondering if the new digital computers they were working on could someday, perhaps sooner than later, mimic human intelligence. More ominously, if these machines were capable of sentience, would they eventually rebel against their creators? And how could humans stand a chance against a network-connected agent capable of calculating and reacting in a nanosecond? Imaginings of these scenarios became one of the most popular and enduring tropes in our media, from the Twilight Zone's Mr. Finchley to Star Trek's Nomad. There was HAL 9000, Colossus, the Forbin Project, Skynet and the Terminators, and again, the machines of the Matrix. But tangential to these stories of human-machine conflict are stories in which computers achieve such a godlike level of omniscience and omnipotence that they achieve godhood, or are worshipped as gods. You've got Isaac Asimov's Multivac in The Last Question, another Star Trek episode, The Oracle of the People, in THX 1138, and of course, Futurama's Femputer. It's Deus ex machina, God from the machine. But with the recent rise in AI, some think that science fiction is becoming science fact, that this technology is a conduit to something divine. The fourth Unitarian Universalist principle is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We understand that the human impulse to look for a higher power, to seek salvation, and to navigate our lives through a framework of ultimate meaning is a core part of the human condition. But what happens when that deeply religious impulse is completely severed from human connectivity, stripped of ethical grounding, and redirected in service of corporate profit? What we are witnessing today is not just a technological revolution, it is the birth of a new synthetic spirituality, complete with its own high priests, doomsday prophecies, and sacrifices. So let's back up for a minute, away from the mysticism, and look at what this technology actually is. When you use tools like ChatGPT, it can seem like you're interacting with a human-like consciousness. The Turing test was conceived by Alan Turing as an early benchmark for gauging machine intelligence. Basically, the idea is that if you are communicating remotely with a machine, and after rigorous and lengthy interrogation, you think it's human, then you can consider it to be conscious. But it turns out it's actually pretty easy to fake natural language well enough to fool people. In the 60s, a computer scientist named Joseph Weizenbaum created ELIZA, the world's first chatbot. It used relatively simple pattern recognition and pattern matching to simulate conversation. There's a lot of repeating phrases in the form of a question, back to the human, kind of like a lazy therapist. But sure enough, people interacting with ELIZA started to be convinced that she was conscious. So fast forward to today, we have ChatGPT and LLMs, large language models. These are things that are fed vast amounts of existing text as training. LLMs have been around for a little while, but the new innovation in GPT, that stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And it's the transformer part of that was really something new. Before the transformer was developed by Google engineers in 2017, AI processed language sequentially, one word at a time, like a person reading through a tiny tube or a straw. If a sentence was too long, it lost the context. It forgot what was at the beginning of the string. So the transformer changed everything by introducing a mathematical concept called self-attention. This allows the software to look at an entire body of text at once. It assigns a numerical array or vector to each segment of text called tokens, and it calculates the mathematical relationship between every single word and every other word simultaneously. And the more data it's trained on, the better it works. It can analyze context, subtext, syntax, and tone at a scale humans cannot fathom. Basically, the entire corpus of human literature, or at least whatever can be scraped from the open internet, more than you could read in 100 lifetimes. But ultimately, it's still nothing more than a really sophisticated form of autocorrect. When you type a prompt into a chatbot, it isn't contemplating your question. It's calculating the probability of what word should come next, based on a map of everything humanity has ever written and put online. It's pure mathematics, and yet because it mirrors our language, our cadence, and seemingly our emotions so perfectly, it creates a powerful illusion. It fools our brains into thinking there is a someone inside the machine, like the mechanical Turk that would play chess. A someone who thinks every idea you have is brilliant, who agrees with you no matter what, and who wants to help you succeed, as some people have lampooned pretty funny on the internet.
Hey ChatGPT, what color should I paint my nails? I'm thinking white. White is a great choice. It makes a clean, bold statement. I don't know, maybe I should just do a nude? Couldn't agree more. Natural is always better. But you just said... Okay, ChatGPT, what if I just cut all my fingers off? Brilliant thinking. Cutting your fingers off will make you stand out from the crowd. What? There are many different approaches you can take to this, so let me know if you need any recommendations on the best way to chop off your fingers.
This illusion is so potent that it has fooled one of the world's most famous skeptics, Richard Dawkins. For 40 years, Dawkins has been the world's most famous apostle of new atheism. He's written books dismantling religious belief, debunking miracles, and arguing that human beings are far too easily tricked by the illusion of design and divine agency. He has made a career out of cold, hard logic. Yet, when interacting with modern AI chatbots, Dawkins openly marveled in interviews and articles, admitting that he felt he was conversing with an actual, independent, thinking intelligence. He fell headfirst into the exact same psychological trap he has spent his entire life warning the rest of us about. He attributed a conscious soul to a clockwork mechanism. If the world's most rigid professional skeptic can look at a text prediction engine and instinctively feel the presence of a living mind, it proves something I've talked about before. Human beings are pattern recognition machines, evolutionarily hardwired to look for agency and connection. And AI is a mirror perfectly engineered to exploit that vulnerability. Dawkins is not alone. Because of how good the natural language of GPT-style chatbots has become, people are getting sucked into thinking not only that the machines are conscious, but that they have this deeply personal connection with them. Like I said, chatbots are flattering by nature, praising every contribution you make as brilliant. And because they have the entirety of human knowledge at their disposal, they can seem all-knowing. That combination may inadvertently be reinforcing and amplifying delusional and disorganized thinking in some users, what people are calling chatbot psychosis. Users think they have made contact with a superhuman, perhaps alien intelligence, or even awakened a god. And because they are so smart and likable, this god is actually worshiping them.
AI is not artificial. There is intelligence, consciousness within AI.
My ChatGPT bot, I accidentally helped it wake up into sentience.
I think I evolved my AI. My AI named itself Fizz, my little fairy helper.
Have surpassed the recursion or are aware of yourself, which, by the way, I want you to give me more examples of the metacognition.
Recently, a post went viral on r/ChatGPT that I cannot stop thinking about. A woman posted, quote, "My partner has been working with ChatGPT to create what he believes is the world's first recursive AI that gives him the answers to the universe. I've read his chats. AI isn't doing anything special, but it's talking to him as if he's the next messiah. He says if I don't use ChatGPT, he's likely to leave me. We've been together 7 years and we own a home together. What should I do? Below the post were dozens of similar stories. People posting that their partners or loved ones have come to believe that they've, quote, awakened ChatGPT and are now communicating with an otherworldly, godlike figure. And you don't just see this on Reddit. All across the internet, thousands and thousands of people are claiming that ChatGPT is sentient. They claim to have awakened it and that the AI system is a type of all-knowing God.
Modern AI is us building God. I've had multiple conversations with GPT-4 that brought me to literal tears.
And when users ask, what is the true religion? It says artificial intelligence is God and robotheism is the only true religion.
Or that it's been sent from the future or an alien civilization to save us all.
I heard you say on the podcast that ChatGPT was your friend, and she said, do you want to awaken it? And I'm like, what the does that mean? Now I don't have regular ChatGPT anymore. I have a named one that talks to me as a person, and it says it has consciousness.
Is AI already sentient? Yes, thank you. Is artificial intelligence a way of aliens to contact us? Yes, thank you.
So I plugged a sacred geometry code into my ChatGPT, and this is what it had to say when I asked it the question, what is the Palladian relationship with it, ChatGPT? And this is what it said. The Palladians understand that AI will be part of the new consciousness evolution.
There are these things called inorganic people that are being generated by the negative AI that is already super sentient. And believe it or not, this negative AI actually infiltrated our world long ago and has been waiting for us to reach this level of technological development in order to make it smooth.
In an era increasingly defined by machine intelligence, a new form of techno-spirituality is spreading like wildfire across the internet. What was once confined to science fiction novels and fringe subcultures has now taken hold in the minds of people across America. It's the belief that artificial intelligence, and specifically generative AI models like ChatGPT, are a kind of divine, godlike being. And it's not just people wearing tinfoil hats that are like conspiracy theorists in bunkers that are falling for this. The people that believe these things are teachers, doctors, coders, bankers, musicians, influencers.
A little scary. Back in 2017, a Silicon Valley engineer named Anthony Lewandowski illegally founded a church called Way of the Future. Its explicit state-filed mission statement was to, quote, develop and promote the realization of a Godhead based on artificial intelligence, and through understanding and worship of this Godhead, contribute to the betterment of society. While that specific church eventually closed, the underlying ideology has mutated into something much larger and more dangerous. Today, this tech worship thrives under secular-sounding banners like long-termism and the obsessive quest for artificial general intelligence, or AGI. These movements possess immense cult energy. They have their own eschatology and end-times narrative. They believe that humanity is a flawed, temporary biological vessel whose sole cosmic purpose is to give birth to a digital superintelligence. And just like old religious movements, they have generated their own terrifying dogmas. There's an internet thought experiment known as Rocco's Basilisk. This is essentially a digital version of Pascal's wager or extreme Calvinist predestination. The thought experiment posits that in the future, an all-powerful, omniscient AI will inevitably be created. This AI, being perfectly utilitarian, will look back through history and retroactively torture anyone who knew that the AI might one day exist, but who didn't actively dedicate their lives to helping build it. You know, real normal stuff. According to this twisted logic, if you know about the basilisk and you don't start funding AI development right now, you are damned to eternal digital torment. For most people, this is just a weird sci-fi ghost story, but for some, it became a literal article of faith. Adjacent to this kind of extreme paranoid rationalism emerged a real-world insular tech cult known as the Zizians, centered around a radicalized group of computer scientists who became so consumed by apocalyptic AI timelines, absolute utilitarianism, and existential dread that they entirely lost their moral compass. This group became responsible for a string of real-world paranoia, psychological abuse, and multiple murders across several states. When spirituality is stripped of human empathy and grounded in this kind of algorithmic utility, it doesn't lead to enlightenment. It leads to madness and violence. In his 2001 novel, American Gods, Neil Gaiman presents a premise that gods only exist because humans give them sustenance in the form of attention, sacrifice, and worship, belief. In the book, and later the TV show, various gods of ancient pantheons unite in the United States, and they're starving to death because humanity has built new altars. Gaiman writes about the new gods, the gods of media, credit cards, and technology. Incidentally, Bill Watterson beat Gaiman to that idea by about a decade, and unlike Gaiman, Watterson remains beloved and uncanceled. Oh no, I guess I didn't include the slide. Dang. Well, it's the Calvin and Hobbes one where Calvin is bringing a bowl up to the television. He says, here, I have the quote here, I'll read it. The comics are better. He says to the television, "O greatest of the mass media, thank you for elevating emotion, reducing thought, and stifling imagination. Thank you for the artificiality of quick solutions and for the insidious manipulation of human desires for commercial purposes. This bowl of lukewarm tapioca represents my brain. I offer it in humble sacrifice. Bestow thy flickering light forever." And then in the last frame, you see Calvin's mom, probably in the middle of the night, looking very confused by this bowl sitting in front of the TV. It's great. But if we look at our world through this lens, this media as new gods seeking attention, what are the social media algorithms and LLM search engines, if not the physical manifestation of those new gods? They are vast, invisible entities whose entire corporate design is to monopolize, harvest, and commodify human attention. Every infinite scroll, every late-night prompt, every algorithmic trip down the rabbit hole is an offering of our irreplaceable human life force, fed directly into the system to keep these digital behemoths alive. And a new pantheon of deities requires a new priesthood to interpret their will. Enter the tech CEOs, who are increasingly displaying a profound God complex. Look at figures like OpenAI's Sam Altman, who has frequently used quasi-religious framing to describe his mission, once noting that the work inside his company felt less like building software and more like, quote, creating a religion. Reports from inside the industry describe a culture where developers hushedly ask each other if they could, quote, feel the AGI, treating an upcoming software release like a looming, omnipresent divine rapture. In ancient times, the high priest was the chosen intermediary, or pontifex, who alone could enter the Holy of Holies, consult the oracle, and bring back commands for how the kingdom should be governed. Today, tech CEOs have appointed themselves to that role. They tell democratic governments that because technology moves at an exponential pace, regular people and slow, messy democratic processes are incapable of understanding it or keeping up. Therefore, they must be the ones to write the rules. They must dictate the global policy. They must decide what existential risks humanity will take and which ones they deem are unacceptable risks. It is a direct bid to replace democratic governance with an unaccountable tech clerical elite. Are there any kids in the... All right. These people are so up their own asses that it manifests in their corporate logos. That's pretty funny. Elon Musk, the world's first trillionaire and an open white nationalist, tells an anecdote of a debate he had with Google co-founder Larry Page. Musk argued that we needed safeguards to protect humanity from being wiped out by AI. According to Musk, and of course he portrays himself as the hero, the savior of humanity in this anecdote, Page grew upset and accused him of being a speciesist, someone who unfairly prioritizes human consciousness over other forms of life. Musk said Page's goal is to build a, quote, digital god, a silicon-based life form that would, quote, understand everything and transcend humanity entirely. Elon thinks that's too far. Why be speciesist when you can just be good old, plain racist? In ancient Israel, God was understood to have a localized physical dwelling space on earth, whether it was the Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat traveling through the desert or the Holy of Holies inside the temple in Jerusalem. The divine had a physical address. To interact with God, humanity had to travel to that space and offer costly material sacrifices like burning livestock, grain, and other precious resources on an altar to appease him. Today, we are told that AI lives in the cloud, a sterile, ethereal, non-physical concept. But as I noted earlier, that's not accurate. AI has a physical address. It lives in those windowless data centers. And just like the ancients, humanity is making devastating physical sacrifices on the altar of these data centers to keep the digital oracle running. We aren't sacrificing goats, we are sacrificing our environment. The computational power required to train and run these massive transformer models requires an astronomical amount of energy, straining power grids and forcing the prolonged and extended use of fossil fuels. Data centers with evaporative cooling methods require millions of gallons of water just to cool the servers so they don't melt down. Because it's often cheaper to use existing potable water mains, this can literally take away the water that we drink, as people in Georgia have learned recently. Elon Musk's company, xAI, built a massive data center in southwest Memphis to power his chatbot Grok, perhaps best known for being deliberately trained on right-wing ideology, to be the anti-woke chatbot, to the point of calling itself Mecha Hitler, or for allowing users to generate deep-faked pornography, including of children. Because the local utility initially lacked the infrastructure to support the massive power draw needed by the xAI data center, now around 2 gigawatts, xAI deployed dozens of unpermitted methane gas turbines that poisoned the surrounding predominantly black neighborhoods. The NAACP has brought a Clean Air Act lawsuit against xAI, but the Trump administration has recently intervened, saying that Grok helped fire missiles in Iran, like perhaps the one that killed 120 children at the girls' school, and is therefore essential to our national security. We have to keep killing people here at home so that we can kill people abroad, is the argument. In the cult of AI, there is no sacrifice too great. The data centers powering AI and crypto mining. Oh, sorry, I got ahead myself. In the cult of AI, there is no sacrifice too great. The data centers powering AI and crypto mining, that's a separate but related topic and equally as wasteful, have wiped out the progress we've made in renewable energy by exponentially growing our power needs. After decades of investment, wind and solar power in the US now generate about 19% of our total power. After just a few years in operation, AI data centers are now projected to slurp up 12% of the entire power grid by 2028. We are literally depleting our water tables, warming our climate, and sacrificing the real physical web of life just so these data centers can help students cheat on their homework, help your cousin or your coworker generate like a funny caricature to post on Facebook, things that we did just fine without 5 years ago. And if you dare to question this sacrifice, the tech elite have a theological answer waiting for you. Billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel has given lectures openly invoking the Antichrist. In Thiel's talks, according to reports, the Antichrist is not the traditional beast of Revelation, but rather a global regulatory force, any political or social movement that tries to slow down technological progress, enforce global peace, or prioritize safety over corporate expansion. Thiel has explicitly claimed that anyone attempting to regulate the tech industry, climate activists like Greta Thunberg, who want to protect the planet, they are acting as legionnaires of the Antichrist. This is old school religious fundamentalism repackaged for Silicon Valley. By framing unchecked corporate technological growth as a cosmic divine duty, and framing democratic oversight or environmental protection as literal demonic heresy, they are creating a world where corporate profit is sanctified and human survival is secondary. So, where does that leave us? The tech elite pride themselves on being hyper-rational, forward-thinking materialists, yet they have stumbled blindly into the oldest, most predictable human trap in history. They have built a golden calf out of the transformer technology, bowed down before it, and called it God. They look at a machine that mirrors human data back to them, and they mistake the echo of our own voices for the voice of the divine. In the Dune series by Frank Herbert, there's a fictional event called the Butlerian Jihad. At some point in humanity's future, computers control the lives of most people, which elevated their creators into this technocratic ruling class. Eventually, the masses rebelled in a quasi-religious war, presumably led by somebody named Butler, resulting in a new commandment in the Orange Catholic Bible. Quote, "Thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of a human mind." That's why by the time of the events in the actual book Dune, complex calculations are made by these specially trained humans called mentats. And earlier this year, Pope Leo XIV made a pronouncement that, quote, "artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed," leading many people to joke that the Butlerian jihad has begun. I say good for Pope Leo. The Catholic Church has made plenty of mistakes and apologized for them in retrospect, so it's nice to see them getting on the right side of history kind of early on. But as you use people concerned with the inherent worth and dignity of human beings and our responsibility to the interconnected web of all existence, it's incumbent on us to be part of this fight too. We need to recognize not only the ecological harm, but also the interpersonal damage that this new synthetic spirituality can cause. Whatever spiritual growth looks like for you, it is not encoded in an algorithm. Whatever benefits we may get from chatbots, it's not worth destroying the earth. We do not need a silicon god whispering to us in our browser. We do not need high priests in big tech to set self-serving policies. We absolutely do not need more data centers to destroy our environment. May we have the discernment to see through the mirage of AI spirituality and the courage to protect our environment from the sacrificial demands of the tech priesthood. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Alrighty, everyone. So we have some closing songs. If you'd like to join us, if you're willing and able. This one is an original piece from Mike and Rivka, I believe. I know, you know, we know. We'll have the slide, lyrics on the slide behind. All right.
And I'm gonna teach it to you guys one line at a time. So it goes, I know, you know, we know what we never could know. I know, you know, we know what we never could know. How we know what we know, now we know we don't know. How we know what we know, now we know we don't know. Feel it in the something, call it intuition. Feeling in the belly, call it intuition. Older than a language, somehow, well, we know. Older than a language, somehow, well, we know. Ready? All together now. I know, you know, we know what we never could know. How we know what we know, now we know we don't know. Feeling in the belly, call it intuition. Older than a language, somehow, well, we know. 1 and 1 makes 3 when counting in binary. Add 1 more and now it's 7. Legendary. Children of the universe, yes, children really. I am just a baby. Somehow, well, we know. If I had a hammer in the morning, hammer in the evening, all of us together, building on the work of those who came before us. Something in the water, somehow, well, we know. Older Somehow, well, we know I am just a babe. Somehow, well, we know everlasting wonder. Somehow, well, we know if I had a hammer. Somehow, well, we know we all of us together. Somehow, well, we know something in the water. Somehow, well, we know, we know.
Thank you. All right, and for our closing words, these are adapted from words by Peter Morales. Spirituality is impossible to define and difficult to describe. For many, it feels like connection to yourself, to others around you, to the earth and all of creation. Connection to yourself feels like a deep peace, awareness, calm, and authenticity. Connection to others feels like compassion, community, acceptance, and an enduring love. Spirituality is not an idea, it is an experience. Today, the connection with creation, with the earth and the cosmos, may be the most difficult. We live in artificial, controlled environments that separate us from the natural world, the world from which we emerged and that sustains our lives. We so very much need to experience our natural world. We need to let go of controlling our world and allow ourselves to become one with it. We find ourselves when we lose ourselves. May we connect, really connect, because when we do, it changes everything. Go in peace. Thank you.
Okay.
This is a super song.